Hey, Kevin, what are you doing?
Answering questions. Got an email the other day from a gentleman who said, I just bought one of those AHP AlphaTIG 200s. Can you tell me what comes in the box? But more importantly, what should I run down and get before the machine gets here so I can play with my new toy when it gets here? So the first thing you're going to have to get is a bottle of argon gas, because that's what the TIG welders like to run on. So there's several different sizes of bottles. I like to run the big, I call them 5-footers, or sometimes you can get the little 3-footers, depending on the size of the carts you have, depending on how much you're actually going to use it. You know, I get about 3 weeks to a month worth of continuous use out of a bottle this size. I'll only get about 2 weeks out of a bottle this size. Now, there are times that you'll be wondering, now wait a minute, I've got a MIG. I'm running mixed gas. I'm running argon and CO2 in my MIG. Can I use that in my TIG? No, don't do that. You won't like the results whatsoever. You've got to use straight argon in the TIG. So, oh, wait a minute, you're going to need a cart too. Now, there's several different ways you can get around the whole cart thing. You know, a lot of guys, well, they're going to buy like the AHP and they're going to put it on their workbench. They just work right there at the bench. They're never going to go anywhere with it. I'm all over my studio. I'm all over the place. So I built my own cart. Hey, you got a welder. That's a great first project. Make your own cart. Or you can actually buy one sometimes from whoever you bought your welder from. They'll have carts as accessories. Or you can go down to like Harbor Freight. You know, you can buy them there. You can buy them at your local welding store. But I urge you, make your own. You know, it's a good project. So what else are you going to need? You got your welder. You've either made your own cart or you bought a cart so you have someplace to put the welder. You got a bottle of gas. You're going to need some gloves. You know, things get hot, things get sharp. TIG gloves, TIG welding gloves, as opposed to like, you know, MIG welding or stick welding. You know, you don't want big, you know, like oven gauntlets. You know, you don't want the big things all the way down here with the great big thick fingers where you can't feel what you're doing. You have to have something that's a little thinner, a little more manual dexterity, so you can feed filler rods, so you can feel the torch, so you can feel what you're doing, because remember, you've got your hood down, everything's all black out there. All of this is all being done just by feel itself. So I like the Tillman gloves, the 1490s. Those are the ones that I prefer. Those are the ones that I use here all the time. So you got gloves. Ooh, you got to have filler rod. You can buy them in the, these are 10-pound tubes, or you can buy them in little 1-pounders. They just look like big straightened out coat hangers, you know, but they're filler rod. You know, when you go to your welding store, ask them for filler rod. What are you going to be welding? You know, this is bronze, this is for steel, you know, you got aluminum, you've got copper, you've got nickel, you got, you know, it's like, what are you going to be starting with? I would say start with steel. It's a good place to start, it's a good place to learn. Then you can move into aluminum, you can move into stainless, you can move into all different kinds. You'll have dozens of these tubes lying around in a not too distant future with all different kinds of filler rod in there. While you're at the welding store picking up your bottle of gas, picking up your filler rod, you better pick yourself up a helmet, because the little one that comes with the AHP, no, don't go there. Pick yourself up a decent helmet, you know, the one that just sits on your head rather than one that you hold in your hand. This is an auto-darkening one. They're pretty popular. I like this model itself. You can also get ones that are just a fixed shade, much cheaper than the auto-darkening, but you have to get used to being able to get everything set up and go so you can start welding. Because the fixed shade, that's it, it's just dark. You put it down, you can't see anything until you strike an arc. You're gonna have to have some place to work. Now, so you can always buy a little welding table, or just like your cart, make your own. Make a steel table, someplace where you can work, someplace that you can have red hot metal, fire, smoke, flames, things that are big enough to work on, things that are flat, things that are straight, smooth. You have to have some place to start. You need some place that's flat to start. So whenever you build something, you take it off of the bench and set it down on the ground, it's going to stand up straight. If the table's leaning to one side, your work is going to lean to one side also. Make it flat. It can be something as simple as like a couple of cinder blocks with a piece of steel stretched across it. When I first started, I was using my little utility trailer with a 4-foot by 4-foot by 8-inch sheet steel stretched across the top of that, and that was my workbench. That's where I worked when I first got started. Now that you have your workbench, you have to have something to clamp your work down with. So you're going to need clamps. There's lots of different styles. There's lots of heavy ones out there too. They're all good. They all do. Some of them do a rather specific job. Some of them do better than others do. I like these. These are called can't twist clamps. They're called that because of the two arms on here, and it makes the clamp not twist sideways. When you start putting torque to it, it's going to stay straight. It's going to come down straight every single time. Can't twist. I found them on Amazon. These are from Real Gear. You find these normally at your local welding supply stores. Heavy, heavy, heavy. They don't bend. They've got a 12-inch throat on them, so you can reach way into something. You can really crank down on something and clamp it and make sure it's going to stay where you want it. Now, a lot of you guys who know what you're doing are going to be looking at these pliers saying, hey, whoa, wait a minute. Those are not for TIG welding. No, they're not. These are actually for MIG welding. But I like them because they're a nice, strong needle nose for picking up hot parts. They're really great for picking up the filler wire when you drop it on the floor and you got gloves on, because you can't pick that darn thing up. So grab one of these. And it's got a nice wire cutter in it for snipping off the end of the filler wire if you need it. You can also pull the tungsten out of your torch with it, because the tungsten's hot. Rather than burn your glove, pull it out with these. With an AHP, you're going to get this little kit. It's got cups for your tungsten, or cups for your torch, different sizes, different diameters. It helps with the coverage of the argon when it comes out of the torch. Bigger one, more coverage, little one, small, less coverage, but the smaller one allows you to get down inside something better than the big one does. So while you're at your welding store, walk over where the hand tools are, the electrical tools are, and you're going to pick yourself up a little 4.5-inch grinder. Get some soft pads or get a stone grinding wheel. They come with you. One stone wheel comes with it, but I prefer the soft pads. A little quieter, less burr marks. It's not quite as aggressive as a stone wheel is, but you're going to want to grind off your welds. You're going to want to clean things up. You're going to want to get rid of the sharp edges on a piece of metal. You're going to need a grinder. While you're there, reach over and pick up a pair of safety glasses, face shield, whatever your preference is, but get something to protect your eyes. Hearing protection, gloves, the whole 9 yards. A little dust mask if they got it. Those are handy to have also. In that little package that you get with your AHP TIG welder, you're going to find some different size tungstens. These actually go in the end of the torch. This is what carries the electrical arc. They're all blunt. They're just a round piece of tungsten. You got to put a point on them. So you're going to need a grinder. Now you can either get a dedicated handheld or a bench mount tungsten grinder. Hang on to your wallet when you look at the price tag on them, because they're expensive. Or you can pick up one of these. I found this down at Harbor Freight a while back. It's a little 3-inch grinder, and it comes normally with a little stone on one side and a little polishing wheel on the other side. I took those off. I picked up a pair of diamond wheels at Harbor Freight, and I also picked up another diamond wheel from a company that makes the little handheld tungsten sharpeners. This one was over $60 for this little tiny wheel. These two, with the other two wheels, there were 4 of them altogether, was $10 at Harbor Freight. The grinder was $10 at Harbor Freight. You're gonna need a tungsten grinder. So you get the little diamond wheels, you put them on there, and then you can sharpen your tungsten with it. Don't go to your bench grinder, unless you're gonna put a wheel on it specifically for tungsten. But normally you got a wheel on your bench grinder. It has all kinds of other metals, steel, copper, aluminum, whoever happened to put something up against it. That metal is impregnated in that stone. So when you come over with your tungsten and you try sharpening it over here, not only are you going to wear this stone out very, very quickly because the tungsten's harder than that stone, but whatever impurities are in the stone, you're going to leave them on the tungsten. You're going to have a contaminated tungsten. You're going to have crappy welds right off the bat, and you're going to be pulling your hair out wondering what the heck you're doing wrong. Dedicated tungsten sharpener only. Handhelds, little grinder, however you want to set it up. But have one, only use it for that. Now the other function that you have in your AHP AlphaTIG is it's also a stick welder, an arc welder. So you might want to pick up a little 1-pound box of stick rod. They come in lots of different sizes. They come in for lots of different materials, steel and aluminum and what have you. Talk to the guy at the welding store if you're going to be doing any stick welding with it. If not, don't buy it. Don't waste your money on it just yet. Get your machine home. You got all your parts and pieces here now. Set it up, play with it, learn it, run it for a month or so. Month of actual use. Run it for a while. Figure out what you need to change from there. Hope that answers your question. I got to go back to work. I'll see you next time. So you don't want it leaning like that. Yeah.